Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video I'm going to take a look at a product that for me will help me to provide you with better and better reviews. And in this particular case, it's not so much about the actual product that I'm going to review today, but more how I intend on using this to help provide you with better information to help guide you on your purchases. Now today I'm going to take a look at a scale. This is a postal scale from Accutech. This is the W-8580-110B. This is a small postal scale which I intend on using to help provide you with more information about the products that you see. How much they weigh, how accurate are these companies in providing you with information on what their products weigh. Now that may be important for a number of reasons. On my channel, you see that I cover things from different knives and blades all the way through backpacking and camping gear. If weight on a product matters, I would like to be able to provide you with at least some detail as to whether or not these companies are reporting the weights of these products accurately. And so that's the purpose for me getting this scale and to help provide you with overall better information. So getting into this here. This is the scale that I have purchased. I'm going to just take it out of the box. You can see here, the scale is nicely wrapped. It is quite small, but I will talk about the reason why I got a small scale in just a minute. I can tell you already that I did a whole bunch of research into many different products and tried to select something that I thought was the most applicable for this intended purpose. And I really had a ton of options to go with. And this is the one that I did ultimately end up buying. And so I think this will do exactly what I need it to. I'm hoping it will get to be at least some level of accuracy to start to draw some conclusions on different gear and different things. But let's talk about it real quick. So the reason why I picked this particular scale is, you can see first, it has a maximum capacity of 110 pounds, which for the most part I'm not going to really even be touching that overall weight. I mean, let's just be realistic. Most of the things I'm going to review will be significantly less than that. But you'll also see right here that it is claiming, and now that is the minimum amount that this thing, and the smallest graduation that this can weigh, which is 0.1 ounces. So let's talk about that real quick. So 0.1 ounces is the equivalent of 0.00625 pounds. I mean, very small in terms of an actual weight. So this goes down to a very nice, tight, fine, refined weight, which will give me great accuracy when I'm weighing smaller things, and when I'm really trying to draw conclusions one versus another, and what weighs what, and how that's going to weigh maybe into my backpacking decisions. By having something that is such a small graduation will really help me get nice, refined, and tight measurements on the different weights. Now I did look at other scales, larger models. They were able to go way higher in pounds, which could have worked fine if I was going to stand on the scale with different gear and it was a little bit bigger, but at the same time, that minimum amount was starting to creep up on me. I mean, the last thing I want to do is get a scale that reads, its smallest amount in like a half a pound or something like that. That's pretty much useless. So for this particular purpose, I got a scale with a real nice, tight, and refined overall scalability. Now the other thing you'll see that I have here is a small set of test weights. I thought this would be helpful so that I can ensure that the scale is calibrated. I can test this regularly to make sure that it's accurate, so that when I'm making conclusions about gear, I can actually prove that this scale is reading correctly and is nice and accurate. Another nice feature about this scale is that it does have a little remote digital readout, so I can plug this in. I can move this away if I have larger or bulky gear that I want to be able to still read the display and show it. It has a hold button that I can push to basically allow me to remove the contents of the scale and still ultimately display the weight, so it'll stay on the screen a little bit longer if I need it to. And it has tare functionality, the ability for me to change between kilograms, grams, pounds, ounces, so different ways of actually displaying the same information to people, multiple different ways, and it is very flexible in that regard. So that's why I felt as though this Accutech 8580-110B would be a good option for me. And finally, just real quick, the power cord. So this does have a wall plug, but it goes to a USB, and this is just pretty much a USB adapter. Now this could also run off of my computer. It could run off of a little external battery. There's so many ways that this can be plugged in, so it's really nice and flexible in that regard. I do not necessarily have to plug this directly into a wall, which is kind of a bonus. I mean, I don't know exactly what I'm going to be doing with this, so just to have a little bit of flexibility and the ability to plug this in many different locations is definitely a plus. So let's get this thing going here and see how it goes. First and foremost, so basically this just plugs into the digital controller. The controller has almost like a telephone line, plugs into the side here. It's got my USB into the wall charger for this case. I shouldn't say wall charger, it's just the power pack. This also has the ability to install batteries if you want to run it battery powered. But here you can see, now they got this thing set up, displaying 0.00. So I figure what we'll do here is just take some of these test weights, put them on the scale and see how it reacts, see if it's accurate. So this test weight here is a 100-gram test weight. Let's get it on the scale and we'll see what this weighs up as. So far I see this being 3.5 ounces, 100 grams even. So that, my friends, in my opinion, is a very good start. We'll just go through these one after the next. The next one here is a 50-gram test weight. 50. 20 grams. Now that one's weighing out at 18 grams. Now I'm going to try to move this around to a couple of different spots. Still 18. I don't know what happens in the middle here. 18. Corners, 18. At least this is nice and sensitive. Well, is my cord leaning on it? Yep, cord was leaning on it. So that's 18. So it seems like no matter where I put this little one, I'm still hitting 18. Let me get the big one back on here. So it's 100, 100, 100, 100, and 100. So the large weight seems to work no matter where I put it. 50. Yeah, so, the fact that this is sensitive on all locations on the scale is pretty nice. So far, it seems to be pretty good with the larger weights. The 20 didn't seem to go so great. Here's an additional 20. And it's also 18. Oh, well, no, it did click to 20. So this 20 is reading 20, which seems to be funny. So my test weight varies. Well, that's not a good sign. 20, I mean, I think I'd prefer the scale to be accurate versus the test weights, but what's that tell you about how my review of the test weight should go? Alright, so these little ones here, this is a 10 gram. That's reading 8. 8. 8. So this little one's reading 8. The smallest one is not even stamped. And it says 0. So, I don't know. I don't know what this little one is. It may be 1 gram for all I know. But the scale is supposed to read to 0.1 ounces. So let's see what that is in grams. So in terms of accuracy, 0.1 ounces is 2.83 grams. Now this is less than that. This is maybe only 1 gram. So I can see why this is not necessarily able to accurately pick this up. So this actual weight here is ultimately less. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, it's reading like 0. So this small weight is actually less than the actual accuracy of the scale. Now at this point, as you see this sitting here, you can see it's actually going to basically negative 0.2 ounces. So it's just kind of sitting here in flux, and it's losing weight somehow. So let's see what happens if I just mess with this. Now it's even worse. So I don't really like that. I mean, it's not a huge discrepancy, but it's just kind of annoying. And I don't know why. So power. And now it's kind of zeroed out. So I guess I don't truly know what that means. It's just something to note and to pay attention to. But yeah, anyway. So you see what I'm up to. You see what I'm getting at here. You know, hopefully now I have a means to weigh up different gear, hopefully reasonably accurately, so that, you know, if we need to draw some conclusions one way or another for a specific reason, when it comes down to weight, now I can do so, and hopefully ultimately give you better information when you go to make your purchases. Now just for a couple of real quick examples on how I intend on using this, and you'll probably see this exact thing in another time when I get to it, but just for the example today, let's just say we had a full fuel canister and we wanted to know how much that weighed. Well, right now it's 13.3 ounces. In fact, I'll just kick that. So it's 13.3 ounces. This is a full fuel canister, never been used. 13.3. Well, this one here, if you can hear it, is very close to empty. Not quite, but it's very close. That there is 6.2 ounces. So when you look at the full one at 13.3 and the empty at 6.2, have you ever wondered how much that actual fuel weighs? Well, now we know it's 7.1 ounces. And I feel like at that point you can really start to draw some conclusions about different things that you want to do. Like, for example, let's just say I took this, the full canister with me, and I went out and I went for a night of backpacking, and I cooked with this all night and I consumed it. Well, how much got used? How much is left? I have no idea, but if I weigh it, and now I know how much a full canister weighs, and I know how much the fuel weighs, I can start to gauge how much I use in any given camping trip. So that is actually pretty important to me, because I have all these half, 2/3, 1/3 gas cans laying around, and I'm like, how do I know if this is going to last me? Well, you know, I can start to draw conclusions. If I know I use approximately 1/3 of a canister every time, and I weigh it up real quick, and I go, okay, I got 1/3 of this left, well, now I know I can bring it with me. And I know I'll have enough fuel for the night. And let's take a look at this another way. Let's just say I had an option of different camp stoves and the different methods for cooking that I could bring with me. But I wanted to decide based on weight. Well, let's just take the fuel alone. We'll go back to that propane. It's 13.3. I know that. Well, how much does this full bottle of alcohol weigh for my alcohol stove? I bought the alcohol stove because it was going to be lighter than my gas stove. But what now that I have the fuel, and what does that really mean? I've never done this before. I have no way of knowing. There you go. 18.4. So in reality, the fuel for the stove, and for what I thought was an appropriate amount to bring with me, actually ultimately weighs more than the gas. So hey, now I can start to make a decision based on that. I have some information. I have a little bit of education to help me make these decisions, and I would have never otherwise been able to do that. So I'm hoping I can take some of this information and translate it to you, give you at least an understanding of what some of these decisions make, so that you can make a better overall decision when you go to plan your trips, buy your gear, and all sorts of things that come with that. Now let's just say in this case I wanted to weigh my entire backpack. Well, obviously the scale is quite small. It does not necessarily have the surface area that I need to do that. However, I can potentially place a board on top. This does have a tear feature, so I can tear that. I can take my bag, place it down, and ultimately get myself that full weight. So this definitely is flexible, gives me the ability to get exactly what I need to weigh my gear, weigh my kit, give me all kinds of different information that I otherwise wouldn't easily obtain. So alright guys, there you have it. Quick look at hopefully what's going to be an improvement in my videos, an improvement in my ability to give you good quality information to help you draw conclusions and make decisions. I certainly know that this is going to help me, and every chance I have to take that information and pass it along to you, I most certainly will. So again, this is a quick look at the Accutech W-8580-110B digital postal scale. Like I mentioned, hopefully giving you ultimately some better information. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.